How do you limit that? Just kidding.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go over this problem. Someone's complaining that the quality is poor, and I'm very sorry about that. But I have to refer to the book, so I'm going to go over. This is 1.20. It's about an ogive that describes how much people spent at a grocery shop. It says estimate the center of this distribution. That's part A. Well, the center, if I'm going to talk about the physical center, is the 50th percentile, the median. And so I can estimate that to be about 25 by going to this percentile and going down there. That's pretty easy. At what percentile would the shopper who spent $17 fall? So I'm going to go to $17, and then I go up here, and I'm going to see that that's maybe like the 15th percentile. Okay, remember that an ogive gives you the percentage of people below a certain amount, and that's what a percentile is. So I can use the ogive to answer those questions. The more interesting question, and perhaps the thing that people had trouble with, is how do you draw a histogram that corresponds to this ogive? Okay? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at interval by interval what percentage of people were in that range. So first thing we can see is about a little bit less than 10% of people spent between 0 and $10. So on my histogram, the first bar, and you know what? Frequency can be a percent. It does not have to be the count of people. It can be a percent. If you think about the shape of a histogram, it doesn't matter if this is count, if this is percent, because it's all relative to each other. So the first bar is going to be like about that. Okay, because we said, based on the ogive, that a little bit less than 10% of people spent between 0 and 10. Okay, now the question is, what percent of people spent between 10 and 20? Well, if this is about 8%, that means 8% of people spent less than 10, and this is about, like, let's say 25%. Well, 25 minus 8 is 17%. That means 17% of people spent between $10 and $20. And so on the histogram, I'm going to go right there. Okay? And feel free to pause this if you need to process what I'm saying. That's the beauty of these videos, right, Arlen? Mm-hmm. Okay. Between $20 and $30. Well, if this is about 25, 30, let's say, is about 55. So 55% of people spent less than $30. 25 people spent less than $20. So that means that we have to do 55 minus 25. That means 30% of people spent between 20 and 30. So that's going to be the next bar. And we move on between 30 and 40. Well, if this is about 55, this looks to be about 70. So that means that 70 minus 15, or 70 minus 55 is 15. 15% of people spent between 30 and 40. And so that's going to be here. All right, and we keep going in this fashion between 40 and 50. Well, we said this was 70, and this looks to be about maybe 80. So that means 10% of people spent between 40 and 50. And again, I'm sort of approximating. It's very hard to be exact, but this is how we build the histogram. Okay, between 50 and 60, it looks to be that that's about 80 and that's about 85, so that's about 5%. So that might be something here. Between 60 and 70, that looks to be about 5%. Between 70 and 80, it's a little steeper. So what you'll notice here is that on a given interval, the steeper the slope of this part of the ogive, the bigger the bar is on the histogram. Okay? So between 80 and 90, it looks like we're about 92, and we're close to 100 there. And actually 70 to 80. So I don't know. It might be something like this. Now, so you should be able to understand at least how to go from an ogive to a histogram using this method. Where the heck is stop?